And so the hawk means a lot to him. So she put in a hawk in there, and there'll be some rare pieces that'll become available that will have our all three of our faces hitting in there. So somebody might get a piece that has some of me in there, or Sly, or Mina, and it's just a nice little family nod to what we're doing in general, and really beautiful artwork. I can't wait for everybody to see the final product of it.
Yeah, watching you guys collaborate was super special. It's art is intimate as a whole, but watching you and Elle come together, and something that's so representative of your journey and your experience, and then for people to see that art and resonate with it, I think that speaks to the intention of which it was made. And I always believe, I mean, I'm a little bit of an energy person, so I always believe that transfers to the pieces itself. But yeah, Elle is a street artist, so she actually gets paid to paint like massive 50-foot murals all over the world. And I've been a big fan of hers for some years. I wanted to get her for a movie, but we were just a little small. And so I reached out to her for the NFT, and I said, do you do digital art? And she said, oddly enough, like, I do my sketches in digital, and then I go out and I paint them. And her caveat was, like, if I'm stepping into the NFT space, I'd like them to be animated. And so that was a whole other journey, which made a lot of sense to me too, like embracing the medium for which we're creating for, which speaks to her talent, because she could have just written it off a certain way, but she decided to take on a new challenge as well.
And isn't she in Amsterdam right now, painting the side of a building, like just something badass? Like, don't mind me, just in Amsterdam.
Yeah, I mean, she's always posting from like buildings like high up in the sky, and I'm like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But she's probably, speaking of time, just sleeping because she just got back, so I'm sure she's jet lagged.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's no joke.
Yeah, for sure. I also just want to say shout out to our advisor, Solana Princess, who's on the stage.
Yay!
Hi, everybody. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning.
How's everyone doing? Sending you good vibes, some happy energy. I just pinned one of the tweets with the art, so you can guys check it out. It's very beautiful art. As an NFT collector, I really admire it. It's something very unique, something I would really want to see in my wallet soon.
Thank you. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. Yeah, we're still waiting on Gabby. I knew she was going to be a little late because she said she had one commitment at 10, but figured we could get our intros out of the way. Yeah, I mean, Mädchen, what have you thought about so far stepping into the NFT space? Like, it's completely different than anything else we've done. So,
Yeah. Well, when you started, well, I think in general, I started hearing about NFTs, and I was like, yeah, I don't know what you guys are singing right now. Is this a new hashtag? And then actually, I went out to dinner with Charles Melton from the show that I'm on, Riverdale, and he was like, yeah, he was just trying to explain it to me, and he kind of broke it down in layman's terms. I'm like, okay, I think I might be starting to understand the concept. And then that was right before you were talking with me, Alyssa, and there's just all of this language that is brand new and so different. And so I was like, okay, Alyssa, if we're gonna do this, I'm gonna have to, like, I'll volunteer myself to be the, like, NFT for dummies. We can do little quick little educational spots of, like, this is what a wallet is, this is what this is, this is what that is, because it's still, even, to be honest, you kept saying my dev team, and I'm like, that's a cute nickname, I don't know what that means. until, until you finally were like, development team. I'm like, right, yes, because we don't have enough brain space to say the full word development. So I've enjoyed it, and I think it's a fun new thing to learn. So I'm just having fun, just kind of being the NFT for dummies over here.
we appreciate you
I'd love
volunteering
to
as
see.
tribute.
I know, and I would love to see all of our listeners on here. I can see you all. Will you guys give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you are already familiar with NFT language?
Maybe throw up 100 if you are, and a crying, laughing face if you're not. 'Cause I don't think they even have thumbs.
Oh, okay. Got it. I don't know. I'm not seeing
I know
many.
it's been such a fun experience, like especially with Alyssa being our guru through the space. Like just learning, the learning curve is actually not bad either. Like it sounds like a completely different language when you first step into it, and it can be really intimidating for newbies. But the
Yeah.
more that we learn about it and the more that we feel comfortable talking about it and feel comfortable in the space and understand how valuable it is, it's been really great just seeing the possibilities in NFTs and with Solana and all that we get to do as artists with ownership. It's been so much fun to keep learning every single day and to keep meeting all the amazing people in the space that are incredibly supportive and patient with all of us. So thank you
Yeah.
for welcoming us and
Yeah,
talking with us
definitely.
and allowing us to grow with you.
Okay, I see about like half and half happening on our listeners. There's about half that are 100s, and then there's about half that are crying. So I
Yeah,
feel
I mean
you. I
that's
feel you.
that's the thing too. Like to all you newbies, like you're still like an early adopter. You're still getting in at the beginning. When I think about the fact that there's 8 billion people in the world and the whole purpose of DeFi is that everyone, literally anyone can be involved, and to only have 1 million users at the moment and an even smaller amount of that on Solana specifically means that if you're willing to put in time now to sort of figure this part out, like you have a very good chance at learning a tremendous amount and figuring out how to make this part of your life in a way that can sustain you if you are an artist perhaps, or even just have some ideas of things you want to do. So I appreciate you all being here. I think that hopefully you get some value out of this.
And
And
maybe Alyssa and maybe even Solana Princess, you guys can speak a little bit to, what I liked about it when we were first talking about it is giving the artists ownership of their work and having it be something that can be financially sustainable. Because so many times now in our digital space, it's hard for me. It's like, when I first started in the business, I was 17. This is back in 1987. And there was no social media, there was nothing online. And little by little, I've seen things change in my career. And there used to be such a like, if you did a photo shoot, it got published in one specific magazine, and that photographer owned the rights, and they made that deal with the magazine kind of thing. Where now it's like you do something and you put it out into the digital space online, and poof, it's just out, floating around everywhere. And it's nice that the NFTs can create this ownership for the artist and become something that's sustainable.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was laughing because like I saw a meme the other day where like our kids are gonna look at us and be like, "You put out things you didn't own," like as if like that would
Yeah.
be the worst atrocity you could commit.
Exactly.
Gabby is here. I'm trying to bring her to the stage. I don't know if she's seeing my invite to speak. Um, yeah, I mean that's for me. Like whenever I see a budding industry that sort of has like a 50-50 reputation that has an opportunity um, to be flipped one way or the other, I just believe that the right people have to step into the space to help narrate that or help navigate that. And I think that that's what I'm hoping to do now. Like, if we can bring enough of the people, like minded people, into this space, we really can affect the change I think we so desperately want to see. And this is what I mean by that. So, hope is like one of the most important and special things we as human beings get to encounter. I recently read a study where they did a study on rats and they put them in the water and they let them swim to the point where they were going to drown, which this is a study from like the 70s. So for all you animal lovers, it doesn't happen anymore. But what happened was they could tread water for about 15 minutes. And then right at the end, they would scoop in and lift out the rats, the scientists would, and give them a moment to rest. And they would put them back in the water to see how long they would last as a second time. Now, they didn't get a lot of rest. It was like a few minutes. Now, the rats went on to swim for 60 hours based on hope, based on the fact that they knew at some point that someone would come in and scoop them out. And that's pretty astounding when you think about that. And that's the capability of a rat. So I think when we think about what we go through in trauma, but like at the same time, what we're capable of after having gone through that, it's like why we have to share all these experiences. Because if we don't share the hope, then we can't be examples or give people the opportunity to even like do that for themselves.
Yeah. And I'll say that I can relate to that. When we got the diagnosis for our son, when we heard that word, he's very sick. And then the word bipolar disorder, I didn't know. I just didn't know what that meant. And I had heard it, but I had heard it in such an exaggerated way. And it just felt devastating. But once we started really looking into it, educating ourselves, hearing from other people who were living very successfully and happily with that diagnosis, keeping it manageable, it became this glimmer of hope. And it really took us out of the darkness of what seemed like, just a devastating diagnosis and something that you can't recover from, and mourning the loss of his future. And once we started, hearing about all these people, it was like, okay, there's the glimmer of hope. And it was so important in our journey that we want to share that with others. And I mean, now I look back with all of the knowledge that I have, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you didn't need to worry or stress yourself over that the way you did, because it's absolutely a, a diagnosis that you can live with, and yes, you do work, and yes, you need to manage it, but it will not hold you back from anything that you want to do in life. And that's the importance of hope.
And mental health which is, I'm so excited we get to have this conversation today on Twitter Spaces, because mental health hits everybody. It hits every family and friend group and work community. 1 in 4 people in their lifetimes will experience a mental health issue. And I know that we see it, especially in the artistic space. A lot of artists are dealing with all kinds of things. And also in the NFT space and the crypto space, with how fast paced this lifestyle is and how much work you have to do and the types of hours and stress that you go through. It's so prevalent everywhere. So the more that we talk about it and the more that we understand that a lot of us are feeling the exact same way, even though it can feel so isolating, I just love these spaces to open up that conversation and feel like, yeah, we're going through a lot and we're doing it together. And nothing that we're feeling is uh, the first time anybody's felt that way. And it's good to feel supported by all of you guys here.
Yeah, I mean, that's so Gabby's here now, which is amazing. So she's my coach. She has gone on to change my life. She's also coached other coaches into this new wave of thinking. I think that's actually much more science-based, and I'll let her speak on these things. But what she told me when I first started working with her, and I was in utter despair, thinking I had solved all of my problems, and realized I actually had just been avoiding them. And what she said to me is like, right now you're the Hulk, right? Like you have all this energy and all this experience, but you have no idea what to do it with it. And so when your emotions take over, you just start smashing everything. But that being said, it gives you the opportunity to learn how to focus that energy into things and use it as a superpower. And it was the first time anyone had acknowledged that I like had something that could be changed into something else. And that was like the moment where things started being like, okay, I may feel hopeless and out of control, but there is a way that I can learn to manage this and actually turn it into something that makes better things in the world, and I can choose better things. So anyway, I'll toss this over to you, Gabby, if you want to introduce yourself and sort of how you fit into all this.
Good morning,
Hi.
Gabby. Good
Oh my
morning.
God. Hey guys. So good to be back with you talking about all things. You're not crazy. So good to
We're
be
all a
here.
little bit.
So yeah, I was laughing. I was laughing so hard at Alyssa because I'm like, yeah, like that's all of us though. Like we all become the Hulk or like a puddle of tears, or just like we feel like we're so broken or there are things so wrong with us because we struggle with feelings and with trauma and with life, and just, that's the human experience. And then on top of that, there's certain things that can happen where then we get diagnosed with, mental illness. And again, I really like, as a former therapist who like ditched the system, I'm someone who's really kind of like, yes, let's use diagnosis as a way to kind of get clarity on what we're working with here, but let's not attach an identity to it. Let's not let it kind of take you down a rabbit hole of, oh my God, this is going to be me for the rest of my life, and this is my identity. I have ADHD, I have CPTSD and PTSD. And for a really long time, I let my triggers and my diagnosis, really run my life and like dictate my limitations. And the truth is that you are limitless with any diagnosis. You just have to really learn how to work with your brain, your nervous system, with the unhealed wounds that are still present for you, and to manage your emotions. And I have friends who have been diagnosed bipolar who have been living medication free for 10 years and using holistic remedies and nervous system regulation and tools and support systems to really help them achieve really beautiful, successful, big, wonderful lives. So, just a little side note that, like, with a diagnosis, this doesn't mean you have to take on whatever identity you think comes with that. You can really just look at it like information on how to better know yourself so you can create a life around your needs. And that's how you find happiness, because we're not going to just get rid of the human experience. We're not going to stop feeling feelings. We're not going to stop having confusion and issues with our brain and nervous system. And so, like, once we just kind of throw that out, that there's no such thing as completely healthy, there's just day-to-day experiences and working with what you've got going on, then we can kind of take the stigma away and just say, yeah, diagnoses are helpful because it's a cluster of symptoms and we can kind of get a direction and understanding of what we're working with. But again, like, it's not the be all end all of your life, and you can have an incredibly fulfilling, wonderful, happy, abundant life with whatever diagnosis you're given.
I so very relate to what you were saying about, on the one hand, it is great to have the diagnosis so that you're at least in the region of what your brain chemistry might be at the moment. But my son Sylvester, he just did a check-in, and he went into treatment over the summer, last summer, and he had a really bad manic episode and was in and out of psychosis, and it was just a really scary time for us as a family. And he just